Apiary visit, 6th of February 2025. Today, I'm at the apiary near Sofia, located on the premises of Sofiska Voda, the site where Sofia's water is purified and distributed to the city. This apiary was established in 2021 as part of the HiveReader Accelerator program. My name is Pedar Petrov, and I actively promote beekeeping as a way to connect with nature and embrace a healthier lifestyle. Hobby beekeeping, in particular, offers countless benefits, from spending more time outdoors and harvesting high-quality honey to contributing to environmental sustainability. Here, the apiary consists of 5 top-bar hives and 2 Dadant hives, both equipped with HiveReader sensory technology. I'm here today because the thermo map from the HiveReader system indicated a potential issue in one of the hives. The solar-powered HiveReader system monitors hive temperature, generating a thermo map of the bee cluster. Upon reviewing the data, I noticed that the bees in these 2 hives needed support. The cluster is small and isn't consuming the supplemental food provided. Additionally, they are positioned on the north side of the hive, missing out on crucial sunlight during the day. Winter hive inspections require extra care to avoid disturbing the bees. Loud noises, sudden movements, or unnecessary vibrations can stress the colony. As expected, the thermomap confirmed that the bees are weak and clustered at the back of the hive. Though they have paddy feed, the packaging didn't have proper openings, preventing them from accessing the sugar. I've made larger holes to resolve this. The question of whether to feed or not is always a debate among beekeepers. In my experience, feeding is sometimes necessary, depending on the needs of the colony and the beekeeper's goals. I generally only feed colonies with insufficient honey reserves, but defining insufficient comes with experience. After several seasons in the same apiary, beekeepers develop a sense of the surrounding flora, seasonal patterns, and their bees' specific needs. As a hobbyist, my priority is being able to work with my bees freely, without extensive preparation. This is why I prefer top-bar hives. However, when opening Dadant or Langstroth hives, wearing a beekeeper's veil is essential. Unfortunately, I forgot mine today. As an experienced beekeeper, I knew what to expect and how to handle the situation, though a smoker would have made things easier. I ended up with 5 to 6 stings on my hands and neck. How you interact with your bees depends on your experience, the frequency of inspections, and your tolerance to bee venom. While I don't enjoy getting stung, I also don't like wearing a veil, so using a smoker is always a good idea. Once the bee attack stops, I return to the hives to close the first one as well. As mentioned, the bee cluster is positioned on the north side of the hive, so I decide to rotate it. This way, the bees can take advantage of the short sunny hours during the day. Sunlight can warm the inside of the hive to 15 degrees Celsius, 54 degrees Fahrenheit, even when the outside temperature is only 2 to 3 degrees Celsius, 36 to 37 degrees Fahrenheit. The thermomap clearly shows how the sun heats the south side of the hive, gradually warming the interior. Meanwhile, the bee cluster on the north remains surrounded by cold air as low as 1.5 degrees Celsius, 35 degrees Fahrenheit, even when the outside temperature reaches 14 degrees Celsius, 57 degrees Fahrenheit. At this moment, the cluster temperature is around 8 degrees Celsius, 46 degrees Fahrenheit, meaning the cold air inside the hive is sapping their strength, while the sun-warmed south side remains significantly warmer. To help the bees, I rotate the hive 180 degrees, allowing the sun to directly warm the cluster and support their survival. I close the hives and adjust the solar panels to face the sunlight. As I do, I realize I should check the top bar hives. It's already cold, and the coming days will be even colder, making today my only chance to inspect their honey reserves. Each hive has honey stored, but the combs are usually at the back of the hive. My task is to move them closer to the bee cluster, ensuring the bees have easy access to food. I carefully check the frames one by one, assessing the honey reserves in each comb before deciding which ones to reposition. Without a smoker, I have to be extra cautious to avoid disturbing the bees too much. At the bottom of the hive, I notice some dead bees. I quickly clean them out before finishing up. My assessment on this top bar is that the bees do not need any interaction. The honey reserves are good and the bee cluster is in contact with them, so I will not rotate or move honeycombs toward the bee cluster. The bees are active and vital, so I am closing the hive. I follow the same procedure here, checking the frames and assessing the bee cluster. The bees are active and strong, but the combs are empty. I inspect further to gauge the colony's size and then decide to place a honeycomb near the center of the cluster to ensure they have better access to food. Moving to the next hive, the situation is similar, a strong colony with limited access to honey. I rearrange the honeycombs, moving some from the back to the middle of the cluster. When doing this, it's important to be careful not to split the bee cluster with a honeycomb, as it could lower the temperature of the brood if present. This time, the colony is strong enough, so I'm not concerned. The last hive I check is in a similar state. I inspect more closely for eggs and brood because I plan to rotate a honeycomb 180 degrees. The bees have consumed the honey from one side, so turning it will give them easier access to the remaining honey. I need to monitor the hives closely throughout February to ensure they don't run out of honey. That concludes today's inspection.